All right, guys, let's get back to this eccentric shaft replacement. So we have installed the eccentric shaft and torqued it. As part of that, installed the races into the head and installed the races into the cap. So that's been completed. We installed the flexible expandable bearing onto the eccentric shaft and we've lubricated that. I did a mixture of molybdenum and red lube, assembly lube. That's pretty thick, but it's very lubricated right now. Once that oil gets circulation, it'll wash that out and it'll replace it with an engine oil, and that will become a lot more looser in rotation. Important to note that the races have to be fitted into the alignment hole into the head, and as well as the alignment hole into the caps. And when you will see part of the race sticking out from the cap and from the head, make sure that you align the caps accordingly, and typically to match those bearing. If you guys can see here, I probably should have shown you this before, but on the bottom here, right here, there's a little logo or indication that's typically on the bottom, which would point the numbers to face up. Okay, so that's been installed. Take notice, when I was torquing the bottom screw here, I had my gun tilted because I couldn't, there's really not enough distance here. And be careful when you're taking it out, just loosen it and then tilt your gun up or remove the rest by hand. If not, you can hit this camshaft housing. So the caps have been installed. That's been torqued to 10 Newton meters. That's been marked. We inspected all of the intermediate levers. Make sure there's no play. Make sure there's no excessive, no type of scoring or grooving onto the rollers. And inspected it in general. Make sure everything looks good. We've installed those. Make notice when you're installing the intermediate levers, make sure not to move the drag roller off the top of the valve. After you've got the intermediate levers installed, go back with a spot mirror and check and make sure that you haven't moved off your valve for the drag roller that sits on top of the valve in between the drag roller. Now we are going to go ahead and torque the bridges up. So we've got to push this against the surface here, make sure it's fully contact, and then torque this up. After that, we're going to go ahead and put the springs on. Okay? All right, guys, just a little short information session here. When the engine was stopped, it's in that current position, I was able to install 4 of the 6 springs because those lobes were unloaded. The other 2 lobes, the camshaft was loaded against the intermediate levers and against the eccentric shaft, which did not allow me to get my spring tips into my intermediate levers. So I had to turn my crank on the bottom until I unloaded the 2 journal. For me, it was number 3 and number 5. But for you, it may be different based on where your engine stopped. So now that we've unloaded that, we're going to go ahead and install the other two remaining springs and torque them. Now, all I had to do to get to my crank on the bottom is remove the crossbar right here and the fan assembly, which is not that bad of a deal. Okay. Another piece of information: in order to extend the tool all the way back to be able to engage the locking of the spring onto the tool, we have to remove our fuel rail. If not, the lever tool will not go all the way back, and you'll have a hard time getting your spring attached to your tool here. Okay.